In January, I hiked one of the most beautiful coastal trails in the world called Rota Vincentina. I hiked part of it, part of the 226-kilometer trail called Fisherman's Trail, and within that Fisherman's Trail, a 96-kilometer worth of the original trail. So it was expanded in the early 2000 as part of the government's project. Uh, First night was fine. Stayed at the hostel. Only thing was that my iPhone charger was broken. Went to this really famous local restaurant. It was at the district of Cais do Sodre. Probably one of the most touristy places in Lisbon because it was also fucking expensive. I think for this paella I paid like 18 euros. On the reviews it said that servers and people are very attentive and the service is immaculate. Well, to my experience, the service was almost too attentive that it felt like I was back in Dubai. Next day, I took a bus from this bus station located in the outskirts of Lisbon. It was to the town of Sines, 2 hour and a half ride. Um, the train and the bus cost wasn't that expensive. I think it was only like 15 euros. Also, the first thing that I had to do was go to the local restaurant and get some seafood dish. I had this octopus grill, which was amazing. Uh, Probably it's a local restaurant with lots of tourists visiting because they had a separate English menu. And after that, I walked 9 kilometers to Sao Torpes, and which is the start of Ruta Vincentina. Start was pretty smooth. So once I got to the starting point after 9 kilometers, there was only 10 kilometers left until the town of Sao Torpes. So I thought it would be a breeze. It's still like 4 p.m. Uh, One thing that I underestimated was a lot of the trail was flooded from the previous day's rain, of course. So I also didn't want to wet my boots. So oftentimes I had to do a detour, which wasn't that helpful in allowing me to get to the destination on time. Also, on the weather forecast, it said it was gonna pour. Luckily, it didn't pour that much, but it was still there was still a drizzle, so I had to keep my rain jacket on. It was pretty warm, too warm almost, because at the time of my trekking, it was still like 16 degrees, so not too cold.
Fucking hell. My feet is fully wet now. Jeez.
So I was pretty happy when I got to the town of Porto. Straight away, I went to the local restaurant, had some pizza. Oh, it was amazing. Went back to hostel. This hostel was fabulous, just 18 euros or something. In the high season, I was told that it goes up to like 80. Um, they had the breakfast included in the price. It had everything: meat, orange juice, yogurt, enough to fuel the next trip. On the second day, this was my journey to Villanova, which was supposedly longer than the previous day's one, 20 kilometers. But the day started nice. As you can see, it's not the most difficult trail in the world. Um, I'm still a newbie at this trekking, but I've had the harder one. The only thing is that 70-80% of the trail is composed of sand. So every step you make, it takes more energy from you, thus takes longer as well. But as you can see, another trail part drowned in water. So at this time, I also took off my boots, my sock.
Ow, 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 fuck no. Jesus Christ. It's sharp. Fuck.
So second day, I'm still going to the Vila Nova de Mil Fontes from Portugal. Lovely trail. I thought personally this part was the most beautiful section of the Fisherman's Trail. So if you guys have a chance, take your time, make some breaks. It's not too long, so yeah, enjoy the view, cherish the moment. One thing that I had to be careful of was these small wooden planks that show you which that marks the trail. That was sometimes too far apart that in the middle I lost the way. So if it's stacked as green and blue, it means that it's a right trail. If not, then it's not a right trail. Second day was really, really quiet. On the trail, I met almost no one. Although I saw a few in the hostel that I stayed in Portugal. So I was just walking. There was also no one coming from the other side. Sometimes the trekkers choose to start from Lagos, which is the other part of the Fisherman's Trail. And also, since the trail itself is located next to the coastline, it is really, really windy. I don't know if it was just because it was January, but I could imagine there's always a wind coming from the sea to the land. It will be like this all year long. But after some while, I reached the road. I saw some peaceful view of a grandfather and kid riding a bicycle together. Not too cold either. It was like 18 degrees, so just perfect. I don't know even why I brought my fleece jacket. I was just thinking of a Dutch weather. But yeah, I should have also brought a bigger bag. But maybe next time I'll bring an extra pack to put my fleece jacket or some other belongings, just so that if I don't need it, I can just take them with me in a bag. So after a long while, I arrived in Vila Nova, the on my third day in Portugal. First thing, of course, to go to this restaurant, local restaurant. Lots of the restaurants were closed in January, but this was still open. There were some Portuguese couples, and I could immediately know why they were there. Looking at the food, it was amazing. I ordered today's special, uh, and it was supposedly the cod lasagna, a soup, and ending with the lemon cake, and they were just outstanding. Um, so I really, really recommend uh, the food there. In the evening, I was still hungry, so I ordered a 20-piece sushi for myself. It's not too expensive, it's 17 euros. Maybe expensive for the local price, but it was still okay. Um, and then I slept, fell asleep. The next morning, it started with crossing a bridge. It as I started with that, there's a way to skip this part if you take a ferry that crosses it. But there's very few ferries that go, and it would only go if there's many people or if you're rich enough to pay for everyone, and if you're just alone there. So I decided not to do that, of course, uh, and headed to Almograve. And this day, I think, was the easiest, maybe because I was at this point adjusted to the trail, but also the day that I got lost the most. In the middle, I was attentively following those wooden planks that I previously mentioned, but at certain point it was just located far apart. But at the end, after 7 8 hours, I arrived in Almograve, and also there I took a shower first because I was sweating. Went to the best rated restaurant in town. The next morning, I started really, really early. I knew that the next day is going to be the toughest out of all because there were lots of reviews about how there were lots of sand dunes. So I left early. In the morning, I saw the sunrise as well. Lots of wind, but even at this wind, you can see in front of me there's like this fisherman guy who was going to fish on a cliff, and it was quite impressive. I didn't get
Hey, Janek, I'm with my
the
Polish
recording of
friend
it,
here.
but it was amazing.
Siema Janek, twój koreański kolega kazał mi się przywitać. Wszystkiego dobrego.
This was the Polish friend that I met at Almograve hostel, and I also had a Polish friend back home in the Netherlands, so it was like a virtual date, I guess. Kept walking. Now the trails were heading more inland rather than going around the coastline. So yeah, I misstepped, and one of the things that I hate the most while trekking in the wetland is, yeah, just wetting my feet. That almost happened. There was too much water, and the bridge was made out of loosely positioned wooden planks, so it didn't really hold my weight properly. But I kept on going, and yeah, the view was better. By the way, this is from Almograve to Zambujeira, which is the fourth section of the original Fisherman's Trail. I think it was like 22 kilometers or something, or maybe a bit more. Lots of bushes. Yeah, you can hear me cursing. Not proud of it. And also, there was a bit of elevation, not too much. Yeah. It was not tricky at all. The elevation was not a problem. Only the sand dunes were. Lucky I brought a hiking boot with high lope, so the sands weren't going inside my boots. Took a little break with the sandwich that I brought from Almograve, looking at the view. And you can see that Zambujeira is only a bit. Okay, it doesn't say Zambujeira. But anyways, I arrived in Zambujeira do Mar. First thing I went to this restaurant. It was at the entrance, and it was just amazing. It was with clams and meat. They mixed it so perfectly that it was sweet and tangy at the same time. I took a bit of time here at Zambujeira because I was going to hike 2 sections on the same day. I wanted to finish everything on my 5th day, so I kept on going. It was around 3 p.m. And the nightfall. I wouldn't recommend anyone, especially if It's not a high season and there's not many people. When something goes wrong, there could be some hikers to help you. In this case, there were none. I was pretty damn sure that within 3 4 kilometers radius, there was no human at all because I was very uh, I was isolated inside this trail. I think it was around midnight that I was still walking, and from Zambuzeda to the next section, which is Odesse, uh, it is also not the easy one. So you can see from the map there, I was stuck there at midnight, but at the end, I found a way, and then I took a
Back
bigger
to
road
civilization.
because at that point it was not safe anymore. So I took a road to Odyssey, and from there took a bus to Lagos, and from there it was over. So I was just enjoying the rest of the 2 days that I got in Portugal, relaxing, enjoying like a real tourist. I went to this Chinese restaurant in Lagos. Oh, it was amazing. Really good, really, really good. First time I tried the Beijing duck, um, and yeah, it was really good and also cheap as how I like it. Went to a cafe and there were also Dutch people. Dutch people seems to love Portugal, and there were lots of sun. Maybe that's lacking in the Netherlands. And then I ended my last day with a mista carne. In Portuguese, it means mixed grill. It was really good. Uh, Although I was originally planning for seafood dish. Um, I really wanted to try cataplana, but it didn't really work out for me um, because most restaurants needed two people to have it together, or else it would have been too expensive for me. And this was a train that I got from Faro to Lagos. No, Lagos to Faro. Faro was the airport that uh, I took to go back to Eindhoven. So yeah, that was my whole trip. 5 days, 90 to 95 kilometers in the Fisherman's Trail. The most beautiful part. I really recommend if you guys have not don't have that much time, 5 days to spare, then it is definitely recommended. March, April should be even better. Thank you for watching.